last night, 20 past 1 last night. I mean, the trades this morning were already signaled. We were already in position to do these trades. The pre-auction, the back-end spread suggests a value of 123, so I was a little bit surprised by the upside spike. After the auction, however, the spreads flattened, leaving bonds basically very rich to the curve. The chart is crystal clear for all of the trades. So the bottom edge was crystal clear, and then last night's top edge sell was crystal clear. So what you need to do with that is you need to draw a line against that sell, because that is a massive opportunity to get short. So if that's a massive opportunity to get short and I draw a line against that, remember this tweet went out at 20 past 1. We're telling you now that bonds are very rich to the curve. Well, if you've drawn that line across your screens, how easy was it for me to make $1,000 this morning? Very easy. That's how easy it was. Very easy. Because all I had to now do was monetize that knowledge and check that the value is still tradable, check the value is still good, and then get in and about it off the 2316s this morning. How did I know it was 2316 this morning? Because I drew another line across the previous sell. So all we're now doing is monetizing that alpha. Monetizing it means putting orders in place to make money from the knowledge. And from that 16 sell, we've just traded 16 buy, and that's $1,000 profit. An enormous profit called effectively 7 hours in advance. 7 hours in advance. Unbelievable. That's how we make the monies. We find the trades, we build a narrative around those trades. And this, by the way, is exactly the same narrative that got me short equities and got me short gold. That's the same narrative that just made you guys a fortune if you decided to act on any of those trade ideas. We called this out in the room this morning. I even showed the room guys the storyline behind it. I asked very specifically, can everybody see the Grail trade? And I think I had Reeve at the time was the only person that was looking at it, because I know Reeve answered the question. It was a very, very specific Grail trade clarity that we got from this narrative in here. And I says, look, this is a big Grail trade opportunity. Right? This is a big Grail trade opportunity. That's why it's called the Grail. And we all agreed that it was a big Grail trade opportunity. Me and Reeve agreed that it was a big Grail trade opportunity. And we started to see the story forming in here. We started to recognize that narrative, and we were like, okay, let's make some monies. So we started working into the top edge sales this morning. We talked about it at around about 11 o'clock this morning. I told you about this when I started to send out the tweet about top line gold. Remember, I told you about top line gold? Take a look at gold. Remember I said that this gold looks overpriced now? And that we should be working that sell on gold? And that we should be aware of top edge equities? And if you don't know, we had that conversation. I then tweeted it out to make sure we did all have a timestamp on that information so that nobody could turn around and say, nope, I didn't know anything about that. Yes, you bloody well did, because I tweeted it. The bond desk still working the back end flatteners. Top line gold and equities are really dangerous for buyers, and we should be looking for support for that evidence of a flip trade. Because we said that all of the commodity space was in danger because short-term rates would start popping. And if short-term rates were going to start popping, we could make money selling commodities, especially gold. And especially equities. That's why we've specifically mentioned top-line gold and top-line equities. So the buyers are, I'm not going to be anywhere near a buy trade in those two locations. And if you understand that this is the tweet after the conversation took place in the 15 minutes before this tweet went out. The guys will confirm that. So it was around about 11:45 we had this conversation. So at 11:45 we had the conversation. So what have we seen since 11:45 on equities? Since 11:45. So there's 11:45 there, okay? So approximately in this area, this space here. So this is where we're having the conversation in the room. And I'm telling everybody that top edge equities is a sell, right? Yeah. See the evidence and flip the sell. So we've had one opportunity to sell it since then, and then a second opportunity to sell it since then. You must monetize these things. You must make monies from that monetization there. Look at how much money that trade's just made. $1,000 without even blinking, just by paying attention and doing the bloody trade that we told you about, that we then tweeted about, that we got you to confirm that you knew and that you understood what the trade was. And exactly the same is true of the gold trade. We told you about selling top lines, and you could have got into that 82 sell. It's just traded a low print of 68 for $1,400 profit on the sell on gold, $1,000 plus a $500 profit on NASDAQ. It's just sensational. It's not good. It's world-class good. And this is the narrative. This is the story we need to be able to monetize, because we're crystal clear about it. Top line. What does top line mean to you? What does top line mean to you? It means that you draw top lines. And we start looking for that same narrative. And if the narrative's different, we obviously change our mind and we go somewhere else, don't we? But obviously this narrative this morning, crystal clear. Well, that's my point, Stefan, isn't it? The narrative can change. Did the narrative change? So I don't care if it's 8 hours or 80 hours later. Did the narrative change, yes or no? Sure, the narrative changed. It got better. That's what happened. The narrative got better from last night. So, you know, when we're looking at that narrative, and the narrative's got better since I mentioned the tweet, I am going to get bigger trades on since the tweet. If the narrative got worse, I would obviously not take a deal, obviously. And that's on you to check that the narrative is better or worse for any short-term pressure that might come in. The narrative is better. I am going to hammer this, absolutely hammer it. Whether it's 8 hours later or 80 hours later or 8.5 years later, I'm going to hammer this trade if the narrative's better than the last time we were here. And obviously that is exactly what I did, and that's exactly how we made a fortune this morning. Sell-side equities, sell-side gold, sell-side bonds, all called in advance. How much did you make?